welcome again to another day of Sabbath. So much for joining me today. As I've been mentioning to you all these days since Sunday, then finally we come to Thursday's lesson, which is entitled The Beast from the Earth. And probably many of you are so curious, and I'm sure you heard many sermons on this particular topic, but doesn't matter how many sermons you hear, you still want to hear more. So here this lesson is presenting the beast from the earth. So we were discussing yesterday about the beast from the sea, Revelation 13, and now we are going to Revelation 13, 11 to 18, and we're going to read first what the Bible has to say, and then we're probably going to discuss. As you guys start knowing me, probably I'm going to go just right into it. But anyway, so a small introduction. What we are going to be discussing here is that we identify the beast from the sea for the last couple of days from Revelation 13, and then we are going to be discussing and see the characteristic of this beast from the earth and who this beast from the earth it is. Well, we have to remember the timeline and the prophecy, the 2300 prophecy, and which beast matches with what beast. So that's how we figure out what those beasts the Bible is talking about, who those beasts are. So we figured out yesterday and the day before that this beast from the sea is none other the Roman Catholic Church that is been starting with Emperor Constantine, changing times and law, starting since 538 AD, persecuting God's people. And we know the first martyr that was Stephen, and from then on the persecution went rampant to kill God's people. So we figured that out already, who this beast from the sea is and what the characteristic of this beast was. But now we're going into the beast from the earth, and we see those characteristics and who this beast is. So let's go to Revelation 13 and start in verse 11. Revelation 13 verse 11. It says, "Then I saw another beast coming out from the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon." And then 12 says, "And he exercised all the authority of the first beast and his presence, and caused the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Okay, let's pause for a second here before we go to 13. So what we see here, that John saw another beast coming out from the earth, and he had, so it seems to me that the other beast was not the tens, because this beast, he said, it had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. So all the other beasts, all the other horns, we see that they have crowns at their head. This beast does not have no crown. So we have two horns like a lamb, but it speaks like a dragon. So before we really get into this, let's read a little bit more further. Because also in 12 it says, "And he exercised all the authority of the first beast." So who is the first beast? The beast from the sea, in Revelation 13:1, right? And then it says in 13, "He performed great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from the heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceived those who dwell on the earth by those signs, which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image of the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived." Now in 15, it says he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He caused all, both small, great, and rich, and poor, free, and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now if we go actually, let's not go there right now, but let's figure out who is this lamb-like coming out from the earth. We figured out, as Revelation 17:15 was saying, that this beast that is coming out from the sea, it means that is a land where it's populated, where multi-nations live, right? So it's a populated area. But from the earth, this means that is opposite of the sea, and this means that is not a populated area. So what country it became in that time period where we're talking about the prophecy of 2300 1200, actually we're talking 1260 years, while the first beast was really persecuting God's people, then what country it came out to power in that period of the time? Well, let's look a little bit in the history, and we're trying to figure out what country kind of established that during that period of time. We know the Pope got captive in 1798, right? So if something has to be coming out from the earth in that period of time. So the second beast arise near the close of the prophetic period during the first beast exercising authority. And that we find out yesterday in 13:5. That is rises to prominence around AD 1798. So, as we see that the United States precisely fits this description. And how is that? It declared its independence in AD 1776, adopted its constitution in AD 1789, and was recognized as a world power by the 19th century. So by 1798, United States was recognized as a powerful country. And how the Revelation described it here in 13:11, that it has two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. So we know during this persecution time, people flee into the United States for safety. So lamb symbolize Christ, right? And then speak like a dragon, that means he's a false prophet, pretend to be Christ, but there is no Christ, is pretending, and this means he's a false prophet. Also, what the Bible is giving us, these symbols to figure it out. Horns in the Bible symbolizing power, right? So it has only two horns. So this means they have a religion and power, the government, they're two different things. They're separated, but they don't have crowns. So this means they don't have monarchs, they don't have kings in place. So that's how we know that is a country where freedom of religion has freedom of religion. And now we see that this beast has no crowns, as it says, no crowns, suggesting there is no monarchy. And the two horns represent the two primarily governing principles that are the source of the United States power and success: political and religious liberty. So what I really want to mention to you here, let me see, I have many notes here trying to put them in semi word here, and say that this at 14, and say that would deceive those who dwell on the earth. But how those gonna be deceived? Is going to be deceived by those signs which was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. So what is the image is talking about? Is to make people, is to force people to obey whatever the first beast, actually how to say, they establish this religious power, I should say, I guess, that when this first beast united and make an alliance with the second beast that is coming out from the earth, we see that is making this alliance that where the second beast from the earth, it would speak like a dragon and forcing people to worship the first beast, whatever the characteristic of this beast may be. And we know already, we were talking about yesterday about the characteristic of this beast, because the number of the beast is 666. And I know some of you are thinking about the vicarious Filidae. I have it on your screen. This is another theory that people calculate the number of the beast literally and came up with this number. But and another thing we need to look at is that when it says to calculate, also mean to figure it out. We know God's perfect number, completeness, is 7, right? In the creation, he created for man 6 days. He created everything on the earth, including the man. And then on the 7th day, God rested from all his work, and that he made it complete. So God's number is 7. The man's number is 6. Okay? So when we think that we obey God, all his commandments, then that we obey God in completeness. If we don't obey all the commandments, then we obey man, and that would be only 6. I hope that they make a little bit, make it clearer to you. So I don't know about calculating this name of the beast is mean literally. We know that the Pope obviously has inscribed on his crown Vicarius Filii Dei, Vicarius, the Son of God, but not everyone take that title. But it doesn't mean necessarily to one person, but it means to a religious organization. That's what it means here. We have 2 beasts, 2 different powers that come together, and they were in one mind with one another. As we saw in Revelation 12, when the woman was giving wings like the eagle and fleeing to the wilderness, right? What that symbolizing? Wilderness symbolizing the same thing, symbolizing the earth beast. He flew into the wilderness where there is no populated area, and that's how we know from history that people start fleeing into the United States, which it was not the United States then, it was from later on. They fleeing for safety from the persecution. And that's what Revelation 12:14 says. The woman flee. It was given wings. This means was running really fast from this persecution and run into the wilderness, into a place that is isolated, that is not populated. So also what I want to mention to you here, this mark of the beast that is talking about is not a stamp, is not a tattoo, is not a chip. I want to make that really clear. The mark is a spiritual between allegiance to God and allegiance to the world's power. That's what it is. It's not something that someone stamp you on your forehead or on your hand or whatever they may be. Whatever characteristics we bear, however we live on this earth, either we live for Christ or we live for the world. That's what it is. It's just a spiritual matter. So as we see that United States is going to align with the teaching of this religious power with this beast from the sea, that we know that this Roman Catholic Church is going to unite with it, and they think is going to do good, and many people is going to be on their side because they are lamb-like but speak like the dragon. So in order for us to distinguish the body language of these people, to identify that this is a false prophet, we need to know our Bible. We need to pray for the Holy Spirit to enlighten us with the knowledge, that we may be able to distinguish that, because those signs are gonna be so great, and they're gonna be deceiving even possible the elects. So we have to be on our toes daily, because we never know. We may fail like Peter did, and we don't realize. Okay, so another thing I want to mention is the Sabbath commandment is revealing the test of one's faithfulness to God. So here, when someone is keeping the commandments of God, is revealing his or her faithfulness to God. God is the creator of the universe, the creator of everything we see. And that's why the third angel's messages in Revelation 14 is calling us to worship him and him alone, because the hour of the judgment is come, and who is able to stand? But those are able to stand, as say in Revelation 14, 12, it says, here are the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And also Revelation 12, 17 also say the same thing. It says, here are those who keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. So we see that these people are distinguished by keeping the commandments. 7 is the completeness. 6 is the number of a man. Is man made things, is not God. That's how we distinguish God from man, the God from Satan. Satan has his number and God has his number. God's number is 7, which means completeness, and Satan's number is 6, which is not mean completeness, and he's only doing what he wanna do to rebel against God. And many other people is going to fall for the deception, because when you're gonna see all these great signs coming toward them, they're gonna be marvelous looking, and they're gonna be deceived in that way. But we know the true prophet, because he speak according to the word. If he does not speak according to the word, then he's a liar and the truth is not in them. So we need to pray that we may distinguish those lies, that we may not be deceived from those signs. And sometimes it's probably best not to look for those kind of signs, right? But anyway, so let's see. Did we cover everything here? Because we have a huge verses in here to make sure. But if you have any question, I know someone did had some question. I've been talking to her just the other day, giving already ahead of time a little bit of this lesson. But if you have any question, don't hesitate. You can email me or you can message me. I know Messenger is a little bit limited, but you can email me. I have the email address there. You can email me at livingearthalive@gmail.com with if you have more questions. Let's see, what do we have here? So we see that this beast was granted the power to give breath to the image of the beast. Okay, so we are talking about that. And also it says that would cause many as will not to worship the image the beast to be killed. So those people who does not worship the beast, who do not worship what the beast telling them to worship, they will cause them to kill. So that's how the persecution is going to start again just before Jesus is coming, because those people who are commandment keeping will not yield to any other teaching but the word of God. Okay, Hopefully that make it clear to you. And then closing here, I have a testimony to ministry and gospel workers, page 118, and says the perils of the last days are upon us. In a work, we are to warn the people of the danger they are in. Let not the solemn scenes which prophecy has revealed to be left untouched. If our people were half awake, if they realized the nearness of the events portrayed in the Revelation, a reformation would rat in our churches, and many more will believe the message. We have no time to lose. God calls upon us to watch for souls as they must give an account. Let Daniel speak and let the Revelation speak and tell wrath is true and tell what is truth. But whatever phases of the subject is presented, uplift Jesus as the center of our hope, the root and the offsprings of David, and the bright and morning star. So however you want to present the prophecy, make sure you present it that Jesus is uplifted, that Jesus is the root and the center of all hope. As it says here, the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. So this is our lesson for today. Don't be afraid of what is going to come upon this earth. There's nothing to be afraid. This is just to let us know, to prepare ourselves for what is to come, to make sure that we will not be deceived about what is to come. That is what is all about. And some of you may be persecuted, and some of you may not be persecuted. But anyway, so if you are persecuted for Christ's sake, you should count it as a blessing. You should count it as an honor. But anyway, this is our lesson for today. Hopefully, actually, if I have this right here, this is going to be one more lesson. Because actually this was the 12th lesson of closing event, and from this quarterly we have one more lesson, lesson 13, the triumph of God's love, and we go on and it's gonna be over and it's gonna be a new quarterly. I don't know if I'm gonna do the new quarterly, but we're gonna see, I guess. So I'm excited to close this quarterly, and I'm sure this is gonna close with the victory and triumph in Jesus Christ. But anyway, so I'll let you on your way, and until next time, may God bless you all according to his riches and grace.